Good evening and welcome to the Guyana TV9 is voting for Wednesday, January 21, 2026. I am Great Sandu. In the headlines tonight, House Speaker rejects allegations, different parliamentary record, and announces date for opposition leader election. Nunla warns of international disgrace if U.S. fugitive becomes Guyana's opposition leader. Former PNCR chair warns elected fugitive as opposition leader with state parliament. Guyana scales up housing drive to address backlog of 75,000 applicants. Region 4 leads demand. Georgetown contractors deny sabotage claims as City Council declares waste management emergency. Add firearm seized, 6 arrested in late night Linden raid linked to viral drone video. Now for the news in depth. Speaker of the National Assembly Manjur Nair has condemned what he termed viral aspersion and personal attacks vowing to discharge his constitutional duties without fear or favor amid heightened political tension. Nair flatly rejected claims from media outlets, opposition members, and the diplomatic community suggesting the National Assembly has been deliberately sidelined or inactive. Characterizing these assertions as false and misleading, the Speaker maintained that the legislative body continues to function in strict accordance with its constitutional mandate.
The Speaker said the attacks have been led by the opposition figure Azruddin Mohammed, who he described as an international fugitive offender, along with the Mohammed's supporters. He noted that in more than 45 years of public life, including 33 years as an elected official, he has never experienced such sustained personal abuse, not even during the most difficult periods of Ghana's political history. He reaffirmed his commitment to continue serving as Speaker in order to honor and uphold the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. He emphasized that preserving the dignity of the National Assembly is a central obligation of his office and that he will not be deterred by harassment, vitriol, or political pressure. The Speaker rejected claims by sections of the media, members of the opposition, and some members of the diplomatic community that the National Assembly has been deliberately inactive.
Our 13th Parliament, from the time it was convened on November 3rd, has been functional. In excess of 90 questions and 5 motions have been received by the clerk, analyzed, processed, and decisions communicated to opposition members. Among the comments made by some members of the diplomatic community include the election of the leader of the opposition in a speedy manner.
He also addressed public commentary from diplomats regarding the delayed election of a leader of the opposition. The Speaker questioned comparisons being made with Ghana's parliamentary system, pointing to examples from other democracies where leadership vacancies or procedural delays did not halt democratic governance. Turning to the ongoing controversy surrounding the election of the leader of the opposition, the Speaker said he faces a difficult constitutional position given that the presumptive nominee is, in his view, an international fugitive. While reaffirming the principle that individuals are innocent until proven guilty, he argued that persons who maintain their innocence should submit themselves to the jurisdiction of the courts rather than evade legal process.
I have found myself in this difficult position to hold the election of the leader of the opposition when I know that the presumptive leader of the opposition to be elected, Azruddin Mohammed, is an international fugitive.
The Speaker warned that electing a fugitive to such a high constitutional office would be unprecedented in Ghana's Westminster parliamentary system and would place responsibility for any resulting reputational damage squarely on those who support such a decision. He announced that he has instructed the clerk of the National Assembly to convene a meeting of all non-governmental members of Parliament at 10 a.m. on Monday, January 26, 2026, for the purpose of electing a leader of the opposition. The Speaker expressed hope that those involved in the process will act with responsibility, dignity, and respect for the reputation of the National Assembly and the trust placed in them by the electorate. Colin Abrams, Ghana TV9 News.
Several waste management contractors in the city have officially rejected allegations of political involvement or sabotage in the city's garbage collection crisis. While Mayor Alfred Mentor suggested potential deliberate inefficiencies or conspiracies to embarrass the city council, the contractors maintained that their operations are strictly business-oriented and governed by their legal agreements. Here's more from Colony Rouse.
During a recent meeting at the Mayor and City Council, it was revealed that C1's Waste Management, which holds 5 garbage collection contracts with the council, has not been fulfilling its contractual obligations. The disclosure arose during discussions about the ongoing accumulation of garbage in several constituencies. Councillors stated that C1's has allegedly been prioritizing work outside the city while failing to provide Georgetown with the level of service required under its contracts, despite receiving substantial payments from the council. However, C1's was not the only company mentioned during the meeting. According to a representative of another waste disposal company, the current challenges affecting garbage collection are not insurmountable and could be significantly reduced if City Hall meets its financial obligations. He explained that timely payments for services such as carpet waste and bulky waste collection would lead to a noticeably cleaner city. The waste disposal companies also recently met with the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, where they acknowledged that the city is aware of both the problems affecting waste management and the solutions needed to address them. The representative emphasized that contractors must be paid on time in order to maintain services at a required standard.
It's total trash. We don't play politics. We are business people. We are in here to serve, to do a service based on a contract that we sign, and we're obligated to do so. Yes, we have challenges, but the challenges are things that we'll be able to work with. Now, if the City Hall pays their bill on time, if they choose to pay for carpet waste, bulky waste, then the city will be a lot cleaner. They know the problem, they know the solution, and they should do what they have to do and pay the contractors what they have to pay them in order to get the city up to standard.
There are challenges, but it's challenges that are usually overcome. We do not know about any sabotaging the mayor and city council and so forth. Any sabotage may be coming from the mayor and city council because we do not usually be paid on time from the city council. Right? We sometimes 4 months, 5 months out before we are paid. So any sabotage may be coming from the mayor. When he made a statement, it's very disturbing.
Garbage in the city is a serious business for us. We don't play politics. We don't, we do our work diligently and we try our best to get our work on time. I know picking up garbage is some challenges, but this year we didn't have no major challenges. All our garbage is picked up on time.
C1's Waste Management, we are a private waste management company. We are in the business of waste management. Well, I've heard the mayor's comment, and nevertheless, it's disappointing, but we are not affiliated to any political party. We're into waste management. We're servicing the residents of Georgetown for garbage collection. And also, I would like to mention that we've been in business for over 25 years. We've worked with multiple administration and multiple governments. And we're not in the business of sabotaging any garbage collection. We're strictly working for the residents of Georgetown.
Acknowledgements were made by several service providers that there are occasional operational challenges, but said they are typically resolved and denied any knowledge of efforts to sabotage the mayor and city council, and suggested that service disruptions may instead stem from prolonged delays in payments from City Hall. The service providers stated that garbage collection is a serious business and emphasized that they operate as private waste management entities. They said that despite the challenges associated with waste collection, there have been no major disruptions to service this year and that garbage has generally been collected on schedule. They further stressed that they are not affiliated with any political party and have been operating in the waste management sector for more than 25 years. Over that period, they said they have worked with multiple administrations and governments. The service providers concluded by reaffirming that their sole objective is to serve the residents of Georgetown and provide reliable garbage collection services without political involvement. Calvin Abrams, Ghana TV9 News.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlall has issued one of his strongest public warnings yet, declaring that Ghana risks international disgrace and serious diplomatic repercussions if an OFAC-sanctioned U.S. indicted fugitive offender is elevated to the post of the opposition leader. Speaking on his weekly program Issues in the News, Nandlall said such an outcome would represent a historic failure of constitutional governance and place Ghana on the wrong side of international law and accountability. More in this Sudan Dark report.
Speaking at length during the broadcast, Nandlall said the potential elevation of an individual indicted in the United States on multiple international financial crimes would be, quote-unquote, an indictment on Guyana, the English-speaking Caribbean, and the wider Commonwealth. According to the Attorney General, no modern democratic state should countenance a person under active extradition proceedings and international sanctions occupying one of its highest constitutional offices. According to Nandlall, the position of leader of the opposition is not symbolic but constitutional, describing it as the role of the country's alternative president. He warned that Ghana has not yet fully assessed the implications such as an appointment could have on foreign relations, international banking, investment flows, and diplomatic trust.
Let me reiterate, rather, a position that I have already publicly articulated on this program. It is an indictment on our country, and it's an indictment on the English-speaking Caribbean. For an OFAC-sanctioned person and a fugitive offender, a person who is indicted by a jury in the United States of America on a number of international financial crimes and whose extradition is being sought by the government of the United States of America, may be the leader of opposition of our country.
The Attorney General dismissed claims that his stance is politically motivated, stressing that the issue transcends party loyalty and goes to the heart of governance, legality, and national interests. According to him, the government's posture is grounded in law, precedent, and Guyana's treaty obligations, not political rivalry. He further addressed public debate over the term fugitive offender, stating that the description is not rhetorical but legal. According to Nandlall, Guyana's Fugitive Offenders Act clearly defines a fugitive offender as a person accused of an extraditable offense who is outside the jurisdiction where the offense was allegedly committed. Conviction, he emphasized, is not required. According to the Attorney General, elevating such an individual to high office risks normalizing impunity and undermining the rule of law at a time when Ghana's economy is expanding rapidly and attracting unprecedented foreign investment. He warned that international partners closely monitor governance standards, particularly in countries experiencing major economic growth. Nandlall also referenced signals from the United States ambassador, who, according to him, has made it clear that there could be repercussions if Ghana appears to legitimize sanctioned individuals within its constitutional framework.
The U.S. ambassador has signaled clearly that there are going to be repercussions. I am not oblivious to the fact that he was elected. We didn't elect him. And we do not support a person who is so circumstanced being in the parliament and being in that post. Those who will vote to support him, they will be judged for their position History will record whom they supported.
While acknowledging that the individual in question was elected to parliament, Nandlal stressed that electoral success does not erase legal realities or international obligations. According to him, those who vote to support such an elevation will themselves be judged by history for the precedent they set. He reaffirmed the People's Progressive Party Civic has taken a principled stand and remains confident that time will vindicate its position. According to Nandlal, protecting Guyana's international standing, financial integrity, and constitutional credibility must always outweigh short-term political calculations. Adana Dorek, Guyana TV9 News.
More news on the other side of break. Stay tuned.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. Parents could hold the key to unlocking better schools in Guyana. Education Minister Honorable Sonia Peralt says, parent teachers associations are critical to ensuring accountability and proper use of billions of dollars invested in education and real development for children. Here's more.
Parent teachers associations, Minister Parag emphasized, are not optional stakeholders, but a core component of how schools operate. She stated that removing PTAs from engagement creates gaps in the system, noting that this campaign marks the beginning of what she hopes will be a meaningful process with a real impact on school operations and administration.
Every system or every sector has an ecosystem. This ecosystem in the education sector necessarily involves the PTAs. You're a part of that ecosystem. And if we take you out and we don't engage you, then we are lacking a part of that. So this is a very, very important engagement. It's the beginning of a and what I hope to be, something that will have a true impact on our schools and how we operate in schools, not only the administration.
Parent Teachers Association, she said, are critical to ensuring accountability across the education ecosystem. As government investment in the sector continues to increase, Minister Parag warned that billions of dollars are invested annually in education, and without proper engagement, these funds may not translate into meaningful development for Guyana's children.
We will hold everyone in this ecosystem accountable. That is the point. That is the point. Because things have to be done and they have to get done. I wouldn't like to know that we are investing billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars in the education sector every year, and at least for the last 5 years it has gone up tremendously.
The Education Ministry says the initiative will roll out nationwide, with PTAs expected to play a more active role in supporting school operations and improving outcomes for students across Guyana. Faith Sandy, Guyana TV9 News.
Former People's National Congress Reform, PNCR Chairman and Member of Parliament, Sherwin Wilder, has issued a sharp warning to opposition MPs, cautioning that the election of an individual facing unresolved extradition proceedings as leader of the opposition would severely undermine the credibility of the parliamentary opposition and damage Guyana's international standing.
Holder's comments come amid mounting controversy over the possible elevation of We Invest in Nationhood, bin leader Azruddin Mohammed to the post, at a time when Mohammed remains the subject of active extradition proceedings in Guyana alongside his father. The matter has already placed the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mansour Nadir, in what he described as a difficult constitutional position as he prepares to preside over the opposition's selection process. Speaking publicly, Speaker Nadir warned that electing a wanted individual to one of the country's highest constitutional offices would be unprecedented within the Westminster parliamentary tradition. He stressed that if opposition MPs proceed with such a decision, responsibility for the resulting reputational damage would rest squarely on their shoulders.
If opposition members of parliament feel it morally right to elect an international fugitive, then the stain on our parliament and our country rests solely with them. This likelihood has been unprecedented in our Westminster parliamentary system.
Holder echoed these concerns, emphasizing that the extradition issue is not speculative or politically manufactured, but formally established through official legal channels. He noted that the matter originated in a competent court in the United States and is supported by documentation submitted to Guyanese authorities by the U.S. government. Quote, some might not be pleased about it, but this fact was officially established by documents presented to Guyana by the U.S. government, having its origin in a competent court of law in the United States of America, Holder stated. In what he described as humble advice, Holder urged opposition MPs to pause and reflect on the long-term consequences of their decision. He argued that selecting a leader who has not cleared their name of serious allegations involving corruption, drugs, or money laundering would render the opposition's frequent criticisms of the government on those very issues hollow and hypocritical. Quote, it will be hypocritical of you to complain about corruption, drugs, or money laundering if you choose to elect someone to lead you who has not successfully cleared their name of these very charges, unquote, Holder warned, adding that such a move would severely compromise the opposition's moral authority. The controversy is rooted in an indictment returned by a federal grand jury in Miami in October last year, charging businessman Nazar Mohammed and his son Azruddin Mohammed with participating in a multi-year scheme to evade millions of dollars in taxes and royalties owed to the government of Guyana through fraudulent gold export practices and related money laundering activities. According to U.S. court documents, the pair were owners of Mohammed's enterprise, a Guyana-based gold wholesale and export that had sold gold to buyers in Miami and Dubai. Nazar Mohammed, 72, is charged with conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud, and mail fraud, while Azruddin Mohammed, 38, faces charges of conspiracy to commit money laundering and wire fraud. The indictment further alleges that Azruddin Mohammed engaged in a separate scheme to evade more than $1 million in Guyanese taxes related to the shipment of a Lamborghini from Miami to Guyana. Prosecutors are also seeking the forfeiture of approximately $5.3 million in gold bars seized at Miami International Airport in June 2024. Both men were sanctioned by the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, in June 2024. As the opposition prepares to meet to determine its leadership, Holder's warning adds further pressure on MPs to consider not just political expediency, but the broader implications for Parliament, governance, and Guyana's reputation on the international stage.
Police have arrested 6 individuals and seized an illegal firearm and ammunition during a late-night tactical operation in Linden. This raid follows the death of wanted murder suspect Jamal Borg, alias Skinny, who reportedly succumbed to a gunshot wound during a viral Facebook Live broadcast. While initial reports of an accidental shooting remain unverified, law enforcement has confirmed that these recent arrests are part of a broader investigation into the circumstances surrounding Borg's death and his criminal associates.
The Guyana Police Force today confirmed that the operation was conducted on Tuesday, January 20, 2026, between 7 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. at 3 Miles, Wisrock, Linden. The raid was carried out by ranks from Regional Divisions Number 3 and Number 10, acting on specific intelligence linked to the viral social media video involving wanted man Jamal Bourne, also known as Skinny, one of the 6 suspects arrested in connection with the investigation into the death of the murder suspect during the Facebook Live broadcast, has admitted that the body was burned and later dumped into a nearby creek. Initial reports of the shooting incident circulated widely on social media, but police had at first said that they had not received an official report of the shooting nor provide details. Confirmation was provided today as investigators intensified their probe into matters connected with the video, which has sparked widespread public outrage. During a targeted search, police discovered a wooden structure concealed deep within dense vegetation. Hidden under a mattress inside the structure was a black and silver Taurus pistol with its serial number filed off, along with 6 live .32 rounds of ammunition. Investigators also observed a heap of burned materials near the structure, raising further suspicion. Forensic personnel were subsequently called in to examine the materials as part of the expanding investigation. 6 persons found at the location were arrested and taken to the Mackenzie police station, where the firearm and ammunition were lodged as exhibits. Those in custody include 2 18-year-olds, 2 20-year-olds, a 21-year-old woman, and a 26-year-old man, all from various communities across Demerara and the Suez-like Linden Highway. Police said all 6 remain in custody as investigations continue to determine ownership of the firearm, whether it was used in criminal activity, and if there are any links to Bourne. The operation forms part of a broader investigation stemming from the shocking viral video involving Bourne, who was wanted by the police and reportedly died during a Facebook Live broadcast. The incident has intensified national scrutiny of illegal firearms, criminal networks, and the role of social media in fueling violence. The Guyana Police Force has indicated that further updates will be provided as the investigation progresses. Colin Abrams, Guyana TV9 News.
More news on the other side of the break. Stay tuned.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as a person you are objecting to. You must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. The government of Guyana is intensifying its national housing campaign to address a massive backlog of over 75,000 pending applicants, with Region 4 alone accounting for 50,000 of those seeking land. On a recent radio interview, Minister of Housing and Water Honorable Colin Cole detailed a comprehensive strategy to accelerate land clearance, expand essential infrastructure, and fast-track the transition from allocation to actual occupancy. This report explores the government's dual focus on clearing the coastal backlog while modernizing housing and water services in the hinterland to meet the nation's soaring demand.
Minister Cole explained that delays in accessing allocated land are largely due to past contractor terminations and the volume of infrastructure work required. Residents who received allocations in 2022 or earlier may still be waiting for utilities and documents, but new allocations in 2025 already have resources approved and construction underway. He emphasized that all regions are being targeted, with new developments along the Linden Highway aimed at easing saturation in Georgetown and East Coast areas.
Of the 75,000, Region 4 is about 50,000 of that 75,000. So that is why I say you have to take into context. But when you analyze our allocations that are being done per region, Region 4 will get the largest volume. But you also have to be mindful that we have to acquire new lands. And lands are therefore becoming, as you go in depth more in the backlands, where the East Coast and East Bank, you're reaching to a saturation point. That is why we are shifting some of our focus to the Linden Highway. So our major infrastructure development and focus this year for Region 4 will take place on the Suzdijk Highway, and as well as for the building of the houses. And
the Housing Ministry plans to build 40,000 homes over the next 5 years, with quality control measures embedded. Minister Cole highlighted stricter monitoring of contractors, the use of modular and prefabricated construction to speed delivery, and the inclusion of a defects liability period to ensure new homeowners receive functional, durable housing. Utilities like electricity and water are being coordinated with GPL and GWI to ensure new communities are fully serviced.
We have committed that we will build 40,000 houses. So in that commitment, one can be rest assured that we have another program we're working on to be able to build different categories of houses to help in the similar scenario that you're talking about, with home ownership as quickly as possible, also for persons who may not have the time and for various reasons.
Yeah.
Now, those persons who will be benefiting from the houses, they will not until the houses or until we are assured of the type of house that we're building. And a young professional model, for example, once we are aware who is building, then that person is allocated and they can go to the bank to get a pre-qualification. So they can be able to move with the construction of the houses.
Yeah.
So that is a response of helping with home ownership outside of the normal land allocation.
The minister also discussed efforts to assist existing homeowners with completing or upgrading their properties, stressing that the government's approach will address squatting, enhance community planning, and provide orderly, sustainable residential development. Priority will be given to clearing backlogs for applicants before 2021, ensuring transparency and predictability in land allocations across all regions.
We have to end squatting. There's absolutely, with the volume of work that government is doing, there is no need or excuse for anyone to be squatting. And this in an aggressive way we're tackling. We have persons who, for example, so we're not doing this at a displacement of persons who have gone through the system and waiting a long period. They are being dealt with. Because whenever you talk about squatting or unregulated areas, those set of the applicants, they always say, oh, we're being neglected. Absolutely not. But we also want to have a better country. We want to have better communities. And part of this development will be to address a number of the unregulated areas, a number of the squatting areas, as well as enhancement of the communities, the beautification and all the program that is being done that you would have heard us with in collaboration with Ministry of Local Government public works, etc.
Minister Kroll is assuring citizens that the government is committed to accelerating home ownership, improving infrastructure, and expanding housing access nationwide. Follow-up engagements and continued monitoring will be conducted to address any remaining concerns from applicants. Faith Sandy, Guyana TV9 News.
Regionally, one person was killed and 2 others injured in a shooting near St. Francois Girls' College in Belmont, Trinidad, after classes were dismissed early due to gunfire. The victim, 28-year-old Alistair George of Serrano Road, was killed while Kendall Lewis, 45, was shot in the chest, and Sean Rajmed, 69, was shot in the leg. Both injured men are receiving treatment at the hospital. Police escorted an undertaker's van as students and parents left the school compound amid the chaos. The shooting occurred further up the Serrano Road, an area that had seen previous violent incidents, highlighting ongoing safety concerns in the Belmont community. Internationally, at least 11 Palestinians, including career journalists and 2 children, were killed in Israeli strikes in Gaza on Wednesday, with 6 others injured, Gaza's Ministry of Health reported. The journalists were documenting developments near the Netzer corridor for the Egyptian Committee for Gaza Relief when their vehicle was hit. In separate attacks across Gaza, a family of 3, including a child, was killed. A 13-year-old boy was shot while collecting firewood, and a 32-year-old woman was killed. Palestinian officials say these attacks continue to be repeated violations of the October ceasefire, with Israel restricting aid to 2.2 million people facing harsh winter conditions. And that is brought us to the end of tonight's newscast. Remember to check out our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GUY TV9 for more trade stories.